Tony, would you say that Georgia was a cool mom?
Yes. Yes, I would. And half the things that Ginny said to Georgia, if I had said that to my own mom, I would be a spot on the floor. So I think Georgia is very cool, very scary though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Especially from Ginny's point of view.
Yeah.
It's probably the most terrifying.
What about this mother and daughter relationship do you think is different and unique than what we've traditionally seen in TV shows and movies?
It's really their past. They've been through so much together. Georgia has asked so much of Ginny. She's had to grow up extra fast. She's had to take care of her little brother. Georgia has moved them around 6 or 7 different times.
Wow.
They've really had to be, really independent. And in a way, that's exactly what has brought them so close. They've always only had each other. Like, we talk so much about the fact that Ginny doesn't have a ton of friends. Neither does Georgia. Right. Ginny and Austin are her whole entire world.
Exactly. I think it just really shows how, even though we do have all of those, we're at each other's throats sometimes, a lot of the time in the show. I think those moments really show the history of them and of that relationship and of that family. And I really, really do think that their friendship is so important to them that everything that's happening, that's falling apart, makes it all the more heartbreaking. Georgia would do anything for Ginny. We've seen that. She doesn't know it, but we've seen that.
I think the fact that we're only 8 years apart, we were really able to go through all of these motions together for the first time. So many of our scenes, we are going at it.
Yeah, those are the hard ones.
We got to skip a bunch of steps. Like, we got to go straight to the vulnerability and the heart of it all, and really seeing each other for these complicated, dynamic women that Ginny and Georgia are.
And like checking in with each other after like those hard, tough scenes. Like, hey, I love you. Like, are you okay?
That was the hardest. We would have to be jerks to each other. And then it's like, sorry, come here.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So we see Ginny and Georgia butting heads at times. What can we learn from them about complicated female relationships, especially mother and daughter, or maybe even friend to friend, you and Max?
I think it really shows the importance of opening up a dialogue, and how even though it's really difficult to talk about some things, it's really important. The women in other women's lives, women supporting each other, is very, very incredibly special. And I think, when we see them going through, the secrets, and they're airing out everybody's dirty laundry, we're all the more saddened by it, because we've seen such a beautiful relationship, whether it's with Ginny and Maxine, or with, those rare, tender moments between Ginny and Georgia. And I think people who watch the show will come to realize that fostering relationships with the people in your life is very important. And hopefully, people can feel like they're part of their family too, and that like Mang is a part of their friendship too. So I definitely think it would be cool to be a part of that.
And it shows too that nobody is perfect. And that's what I love about all of these characters, that despite their imperfections, they are able to connect and be patient with each other and understand each other and hear each other out. I feel like we have to have a breakdown in order to get to our breakthrough after Ginny's birthday.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. I agree.
Why is Ginny's story so important to unpack, and what are audiences, especially the young adult audiences, you think going to see in this and take away?
I think Ginny is an example of the kind of world that we live in today. She's biracial. There are plenty of multicultural families and multicultural people and multiracial households that you don't normally see portrayed, or at least you didn't. Now it's becoming more normal, and I'm loving to see inclusiveness and diversity on screen, just because it simply reflects everyday life. And I think, she is just like every teenage girl, really. She has that fragility. She's trying to discover who she is, at that age. And even now, adults don't get it. I mean, adults still haven't gotten it down. That's why it's a coming of age story for both her and her mother. It's not like you one day wake up with all the answers. So I think for Ginny, there are a lot of questions that she has, questions about her identity, questions about her sexuality, questions about her race and where she belongs in the world. And these are all things that I went through as a teenager too, and as a kid. And I know that a lot of people go through that. So to be able to show that on screen and to have been able to collaborate with Sarah, the show creator, has been such a special experience. And I will always, always value that.
So we have a plethora of love triangles.
Yes.
Who do you think Georgia should end up with?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, obviously, for Ginny's sake, I really wanted her and Zion to stick together for once. That was so heartbreaking when he leaves. And by the way, your performance in that scene is just stole my breath away, because we really feel it. We really feel her heart, for her penguin, but she's got this amazing thing with Paul. So even the audience is probably going to be like, I know I was like, why can't she have all of them?
He's talking about that this smells like home.
Yeah. So I would say Zion for Ginny's sake, but for my personal feelings, I love Joe. Yeah. He's just, Paul, he's successful. He can move on. Like he's got a list of women for the door. Yeah. But Joe is just so sweet. And I think they would be great together. Who do you think Ginny should be with? We've got Hunter. Mm-hmm. We've got Marcus.
Mm-hmm. Look, Alex and Marcus pulled on all my 90s heartstrings of classic 90s heartthrob, neighbor climbing into the window.
John Hughes movie. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. It was everything. So I think that's what Brianne would say, but we know who Georgia wants you to be with.
Right. See, that's true.
Exactly.
Georgia would say Hunter.
Yeah.
All moms everywhere would probably say Hunter.
Yes. He has all of his extracurriculars are very impressive.
He drives a Porsche.
He drives a Porsche. He's going to end up at an Ivy League. His family is charming. So, good option.
Okay. So, Brianne, I know you've never married anyone, right?
Do you know that?
I guess I don't know that. But Georgia has murdered not just one, but at least a couple of people.
That we know of.
Yeah. That we know of.
Right.
So, by the end of the show, when the ashes are being spread across the sea of faces in the fireworks during
with this right now.
Yeah. What do you think audiences should feel? Should they be on Georgia's side? Should they be rooting for her? She's done so much, we know why, but is it enough to justify the fact that she's
Look, justifying murder is a pretty tough one, and I love my fair share of true crime. However, we know why Georgia did what she did, and it comes from the part of her that is incredibly pained due to the circumstances that she had to grow up with. Georgia is a true survivor. She was the victim of sexual abuse, and I think the thought of Ginny finding herself anywhere even remotely close to that is not allowed. No, that's
absolutely not.
That can't happen. And Georgia, as we see, will do anything to stop that. So
I will say my mother will stop at nothing to root for Georgia, and she's just protecting her kids. She's a mama bear. I'm like, yeah, Mom, we get it. But it's true.
It's a little polarizing.
But I think that just shows how complex the character is and how acrobatic your performance was for it, for you to be able to be that likable, but also that dark.
So Tony, where do we think Ginny is driving off to in the middle of the night with her brother on the back of the motorcycle with her?
Right, yes. Well, the keen eye will note one of the many Easter eggs in the show. While she's packing her bag, she grabs that book that Zion gave to her. So based on that information, we can safely assume probably that she would be heading to her dad's apartment in Boston. Right. At least you'd hope, because I don't know how well Ginny would do on the streets. She's very book smart, but I don't think she has Georgia's street smart. So
can't have it all.
Yeah, you can't have it all, as we can clearly see. But what about Georgia? Where do you think Georgia is headed in all of this?
think Georgia is headed to take over the world, maybe. I think there's like a little pinky in the brain thing going on here. And yes, I think Georgia is just going to keep climbing that ladder.
For sure.